Have you ever stopped to think about the human body? I mean, really, think about it. It is an absolutely incredible machine, with trillions, literally trillions, of tiny parts all working together in perfect harmony. But how does it all actually work? Well, today we're going to take a tour of this amazing biological engine to find out. Let's get right into it.
Okay, but before we dive into our own complex machinery, let's start with a classic biology puzzle, one that really gets to the heart of what life even is. The question is this: are viruses alive? Now, it sounds like a simple yes or no, but believe me, the answer is way more complicated than you might think. You see, we usually define living things by a checklist of actions, right? They eat, they breathe, they grow, they respond to things. But viruses, they do none of that. The only thing they do that's even close to life is reproduce. And they can't even do that on their own. They have to hijack a living cell to make copies of themselves. This puts them in this fascinating gray area, somewhere between a living thing and just a non-living chemical. And here's why. A virus is incredibly simple. It's just a bit of genetic code, DNA or RNA, wrapped up in a protein shell. There's no complex stuff inside like a real cell has. Honestly, it's more like a tiny, pre-programmed machine built for one single task: invasion. And you know what? That idea of a machine is the perfect way to think about our own bodies as we go through this tour. So, just like any machine, our body needs two fundamental things to run. It needs fuel, and it needs a way to burn that fuel for energy. So for our first stop on this tour, let's head down to the power plant.
Now, to burn fuel efficiently, you absolutely need oxygen, and that's where our gas exchange system, you probably know it as the respiratory system, comes into play. You can think of it as the body's main air intake. Every single breath you take pulls air down your windpipe through a series of branching tubes and deep, deep into your lungs.
Deep inside those lungs, at the very end of the tiniest branches, are millions of little air sacs called alveoli. Now, this is where the magic happens. Oxygen passes through the incredibly thin walls of these sacs and straight into your bloodstream. And at that exact same moment, the waste gas, carbon dioxide, travels out of the blood to be breathed out. It is a perfect, seamless swap.
And you don't have to take my word for it. We can see the proof right here in the numbers. The air you breathe in is about 21% oxygen, but the air you breathe out, only 16%. So where did that 5% go? Your body used it. At the same time, look at carbon dioxide. It goes from almost nothing in the atmosphere to a full 4% in the air you exhale. That's a clear sign of the engine at work.
But here's the thing: oxygen is only half the equation. You can't run an engine on air alone. You need fuel. And for that, we turn to the body's refueling station, the digestive system. This incredible system is basically one long, 8-meter processing plant. Seriously, it's that long. It takes everything you eat, carbs, proteins, fats, and its job is to break it all down into tiny molecules that your body can actually absorb for energy and raw building materials. And this breakdown isn't just about chewing and mashing things up. It's a chemical process. Your body uses these specialized proteins called enzymes that act like tiny molecular scissors. You've got carbohydrates that chop starches into sugars, proteases that break proteins down into amino acids, and lipases that slice fats into fatty acids. These are the tiny fuel particles our machine can finally put to use. Okay, so quick recap. We've got oxygen from the lungs, and we've got fuel from our food. The next big challenge is, how do you deliver all of that stuff to every single one of the trillions of cells that need it? Well, you need a transportation network.
And here it is, the circulatory system. Just think of it as this incredible internal superhighway of blood vessels. It's responsible for delivering all the good stuff, like oxygen and nutrients, and at the same time, it hauls away all the waste products, like carbon dioxide.
And right at the center of this network is the most impressive pump you can possibly imagine: the heart. This powerful muscle beats over 100,000 times a day. That's enough to pump blood to fill a car's gas tank every single hour. It also brilliantly runs two circuits at once. The right side sends blood to the lungs to get oxygen, and the left side pumps that fresh, oxygen-rich blood out to the rest of the body. The highways themselves are perfectly designed for the job. Arteries, which carry blood away from the heart, have these thick, muscular, and elastic walls. They have to handle the high-pressure pulses from each heartbeat. Veins, on the other hand, which carry blood back to the heart, have much thinner walls because the pressure is way lower. It's a perfect example of structure matching function.
So what's actually flowing through these pipes? Well, blood is a really complex fluid. It's mostly a liquid called plasma, but floating inside it are these crucial cells. Red blood cells are like the oxygen taxis. White blood cells? They're the security guards of your immune system. And platelets are the emergency repair crew rushing in to form clots whenever you get a cut.
Okay, so we have power, we have fuel, and we have a delivery system. But what coordinates all this? I mean, breathing, digestion, blood flow, none of it can just be random. It all requires a command center to run the show. So meet the body's CEO, the central nervous system, which is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. This is the absolute master control system. It gets information from all over your body, processes it, and then sends out the instructions to make everything happen.
And sometimes it works so fast it's completely automatic. Take a reflex, like when you pull your hand away from something hot. A stimulus, the heat, triggers a sensory neuron. That signal zips to your spinal cord, which immediately processes it and sends an instruction straight back out through a motor neuron, causing your muscle to contract. All of this happens before the signal even reaches your brain to register the feeling of pain, and it's an amazing built-in safety feature.
Now, this constant management, this behind-the-scenes work, is all part of a crucial biological concept called homeostasis. The best way to think of it is as the body's autopilot. Its entire job is to keep your internal environment, things like your temperature, your water levels, your blood sugar, incredibly stable no matter what's going on outside.
Water balance is a perfect example of homeostasis in action. Every day, you take in water from food and drink, and you lose it through urine, sweat, even just breathing. Behind the scenes, your brain and your kidneys are constantly running these complex calculations and feedback loops to keep it all perfectly balanced. This incredible self-regulation is happening inside you right now, without you giving it a single thought. It's amazing.
You know, we've looked at the power plant, the fuel processor, the delivery network, and the command center, but the true marvel isn't any one of those parts on its own. It's the seamless integration. The respiratory system brings in the oxygen to burn the fuel provided by the digestive system, all delivered by the circulatory system, and all conducted by the nervous system. The whole truly is greater than the sum of its parts.
And that brings us right back to where we started. From the simple, borderline existence of a virus to the absolutely staggering complexity of our own bodies. We're talking trillions of components, all working in perfect sync to create one conscious, feeling person. So the final question is, what does this intricate dance truly tell us about the nature of life itself?